expected you to say testing. All right, we're going to call the February 20th, 2025 City of Brentwood, Missouri Architectural Review Board meeting to order. Calling the roll. Matt Foreman, present. Carl Carlin.
Here.
Paul Turner.
Here.
First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for December 19th, 2024. Any comments, motions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Old business, we have none, so we will move into our first applicant for 8742 Eulalie Avenue. I'd like to step up and tell us about your project.
This project includes a two-story addition on the back of the existing home. It also includes a tuck-under garage based on the grades that we have. Renovating the existing kitchen, and the addition includes family room, enlarging the kitchen, garage below that, and then the second floor includes bedroom, bathroom, closet. We have a screen porch on the back. Then architecturally, we're kind of trying to blend the addition as much as we can, so we will re-side the entire house and re-side it with all the same siding, addition and existing. Roof shingles will match the existing.
There we go. All right, finally loaded. So we've got it up there for people to see, and it's being shared online.
Great.
I also took the liberty of pulling up Google Maps. So we're right here. You're the first house to the east of the fire station.
Correct.
That away. And I'm going to pop into street view here. So that's the residence. And I'm gonna do this. We're gonna go look across the street. Because what you're doing is actually very similar to what the Joneses have done. Up.
Oh. Thank you.
All right, so zoom in a little bit. I gotta move some stuff. So it's a large family room addition on the back. That's the back of the existing residence.
Right.
Then a second story that sits here. So the front elevation, side elevation, as well as rear and other side screen porch, and lovely renderings. I think a good view to start with. That's if you're driving down Eulalie going west, you just pass the fire station. Comments, questions from board members? But get rid of some stuff here.
So one of my questions, so your preference is to put a blank gable in towards the front of the house. Is there any reason why it's not either a hip or have two gables on the side instead, or just treat it as a hip roof system?
I don't know a hip is necessarily appropriate here based on kind of the existing roof lines, but I think that's kind of just just kind of mimicking the other roof lines was the idea there. We're talking about the gable of the
Yeah, I mean,
second
it's
floor,
just,
correct?
it makes
I
it,
think so. So, Board Member Carlin had some time on his hands today.
Happens to the best of us.
Oh,
It's not so bad. I think what Mr. Turner was talking about was the gable ends, and they're pretty austere as you have them presented. And as Matt pointed out, there's houses that have done something similar. So I mean, understanding that it's an efficient solution to the problem of adding space. If you know, and when you're adding to an existing structure, it's not always possible to, you know, start from zero and make everything as elegant as you might like, right? So, in that regard, I think we just need to ameliorate the presence of it. So to that end, I was, you know, just drop the gable in, basically, right? So, I don't think that the blank siding just going up to the gable is appropriate, given that the other gable has something different in it, right? And that's probably true on the back and as well, although the back is always, you know, for the board's purposes, not as important because not everybody sees it. But in general, we've been told by builders, and I don't have, you know, cost data at hand, you know, but we've been told by builders that this is not a significant upcharge to just change the siding in the gable and put a board across it in event.
right.
I would suggest that as a way to make the house feel more coherent as a single design, as opposed to like a thing added onto another thing, you know. So I did have time. so rather than talk about it in the abstract, I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so
I'll concur with Carl there. I mean, I think that helps out a lot.
let's
Yeah.
put that in very plain language for the record. We're suggesting adding a board at the top plate and in the gable end, changing from regular lap vinyl siding to a vertical board and batten type pattern,
To match what they had on the front of the building.
matching the front of the house.
Yeah. And then I dropped it in the back because, you know, it doesn't hurt in the back. You know, it only helps, you know, so,
So this one's
Yeah.
yours, so you,
yeah.
same detail there on the two gables.
Yeah, it gives the whole thing, again, acknowledging that it is what it is, right? It's a house with a bump, and the bump is efficient and programmatic because you need it, you know. But the intent would be to make it look like it was part of the original design always, and not just an add-on, an afterthought, right?
Sure.
So I feel like without changing anything, you know, massing wise or something else, it's the easiest way to help bring it in line, you know.
I can't tell by the resolution of what I'm looking at here. Are you adding, on the back, are you adding the vertical on the
Yes.
back gable as well?
Yes, yeah. So I literally copied your front gable and pasted it everywhere else, yeah.
Right.
So that's exactly the same, yeah. And there's no, you know, color is your choice, owner's choice, you know, those are all things that you guys get to decide, you know, that's fine. It's, you know, I think that to me, it's an exercise in consistency, right? Like if you're doing it on one gable, why wouldn't you do it on the others, you know? And
Sure.
and the vent, you know, it helps visually. Oftentimes they're not even functional anymore, right? You know, but they just kind of break up the expanse of siding.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Right.
So versus that, which, you know, so of course I also looked at, could you get a window on the other side, right? You know, and trying to balance the window out, and it's a closet.
I had one there at one point. Doesn't really make sense, so.
It's a closet, so
Yeah.
I don't know that, you know, I don't want to make observations that seem, you know, silly. So
We
but
also
yeah.
know that view is
Yeah,
not
it's
a
a
true
closet,
life
so I didn't
view,
push the issue.
right.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, you know, the siding is there. You took the round thing off the front door in the rendering, which, you know, that's not going to hurt. The windows have trim around them. You know, you did line up windows where you could. You know, so all of that's appreciated. So if you're amenable to that change, that we can enter it into the record as such. So.
Typically during our meetings like this, what we'll do is if there's commentary or questions and we can make markups that will expedite not having to send you away and redraw, we'll make limited markups and enter them into the record as the motion to be approved, move to approve as noted. But we're not just going to mark them up, we're going to make sure you're amenable to them.
I'm okay with them. I will say the owner's not here. He had another commitment. So, I mean, I'm okay to agree to them and I don't think it's gonna be a problem if this is the only comment. I think he'll be okay with it.
So if he doesn't like them or she doesn't like them, then you can always submit for a change back.
Same process, come back and.
Yep.
Okay,
I mean, we're trying to eliminate that second step.
right.
It's enough of an issue that I was compelled to draw on it and talk about it, right? So I don't want to bring it back if you can avoid it.
All right, pretty rough. I'll clean that up for the final. Are there any questions from the public in attendance for this submission? We have a motion.
Mind if I jump in here real quick? If just need, we're going to need the height of that second story. Make sure it meets the zoning requirements, just as an FYI for you, because I don't see anything in here.
If you could look at the front
Where-
front elevation on A301. Drawing 2. 301.
So you're after roof peak, correct?
Should be the median or the mean. So we've got 20-foot 10 there, John, on the left side of it marked. No, that's to the average between ridge and eave.
Yep. Just, we'll check with zoning just to
Okay,
make sure, because I'm
sure.
not
Oh, yeah.
real sure on the zoning.
Okay,
Just so, and I was just wanted you to know
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay, thanks.
Is that measured on the front or on the side, John?
Where was the elevate, or that dimension?
The one that, right there on the left, yeah.
Yeah, 24 foot on the front from grade. Okay.
But we didn't, I mean, the renderings, kind of shortcut the question about materials, but I didn't see if they were noted and how they were submitted.
Is that worth? Discussing the 12 and 7? Would look odd with the 12 and 7 in front if it wasn't 12 and 7 in back. But if there were a height concern, we could alter the slope of the top one, but it might look,
Yeah, I mean, I think you did the right thing by matching it for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
look odd here if it didn't match. All right, I think we're back to,
I do note, generally speaking, and I have samples here if we want to get more specific, but yeah. So the shingle we're going to match. Sorry. Do you want me to walk these up to you guys?
So is everything a match existing, or is this a new color? We're going to put new siding, okay. So it's a gray to match existing, so.
Correct, yeah.
The rendering, I mean, it shows, I guess, the blue one, right? So,
We didn't catch what he's saying, but we
Oh,
can't because he's over here.
sorry.
sorry. So no, is it, we would want to pick one of them to note, because we're supposed to have a specific choice, so.
Medium blue-gray, is that matching?
This is.
No,
it'll-
I meant
this-
matching one of the names. He's got Pacific Blue or Midnight Blue.
It'd probably be one of these two, so if I had to pick one right now, I would say the Pacific Blue.
Consistent with the image. And that would be for all the siding, including vertical.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then trim is all white as it shows in the rendering.
Correct.
Door is white. I think the deck you showed is stained, the back deck.
Yes, correct.
Downspouts gutter is all white.
Other commentary? We have a motion.
I'll move to approve as noted.
Second.
Taking the roll. Ricky Foreman, yes. Carl Carlin,
Yes.
Paul Turner.
Yes.
Thanks.
Get to finish your drawings and go see John, so.
Right.
So we're gonna send him these markups and he'll compare them to the construction documents you submit,
Okay,
so.
great. Thank you very much.
All right, back to our agenda. Whoop, wrong internet. 8510 Eulalie. Mr. McGee and,
So for this one, I'm recusing or abstaining, whichever is the preference. Originally, Tom was going to present it as the package that was sent to him, but we've already talked about some changes already, and I helped with the site plan.
all right. Your proposed and existing site plan, is this 217, I believe is your revised, correct?
Correct.
Add photos.
We didn't let you introduce the project if you want to introduce it.
So it's an existing slab we're gonna tear down and build a two-story, 4-bed, 3.5-bath, roughly 3,000 square foot new home.
All right, so that house is the white one right here, or the painted gray one right there? My little navigation icon. So it's this one right here.
Correct,
All right, so there was a fire and now it's a tear down.
correct.
Taking pictures, placement on the lot. All right, so given the context of the street, we have a very similar, this one's about 20 years old. And for full candor for everybody in the room, I live over here.
Right.
So I know the street well. So I know I've expressed concern based on the height. We just talked about the height
Correct.
of the median roof. I measured not to the median, but to the peak of this one. And if anybody's driven down Eulalie, which I'm sure you all have, cutting through at some point, just for frame of reference, this house sits about 3.5 to 4 feet out of the ground. And to the peak here is 30 feet. Also note one of our online attendees, Steve Farlow. This is his house.
Okay.
My biggest concern is as I look at this, Tom and Paul, I'm getting 36 feet 1 inch to the side. on this
Correct,
house.
and that was based on a 10-foot first floor, 9-foot second floor, which we'd like to drop the first floor height to 9, maybe leave the second floor at 9, if not drop to 8, and then adjust the roof pitch, which would get us under zoning.
So we're modified the site plan, so I think we should probably start there because you revised this one on 2/17. Looking at the approximate locations of the existing houses and where the proposed house is, this is the modified one. And I think this, based on what I can tell, you're about 2 feet off the front, maybe a little less, of the front of the house next door.
Where the line is, that's actually the.
Porch.
Yeah, so
Well, the
that is the
projection,
porch.
yeah.
Porches are. Oh, sorry. So the porches are actually lined up there.
So no porch, small porch,
Yeah, the
no
small porch,
posts.
right.
This one does have posts. This one currently doesn't have a porch.
Right, so basically the front, where the posts are, will line up with the neighbor's house.
So your
Is the
posts
intention of
line
that.
up with their posts.
Correct.
Which, from a rough visual observation, actually lines up with his front posts.
Okay,
So that seems to be in keeping, because the front face of the house is a little behind the brick here. So we're trying to fit into context of the neighborhood.
Correct.
So for our massing materials and garage front are always our big pieces. Massing, we're talking about with the height. Material, there's other siding. You do have some nice stone accents and nice trim work on the front elevation, so that's always appreciated. Come on, let's go. Here's the front elevation of the house. What you were just referring to, Tom, is this 10-foot first floor,
Correct.
9-foot second floor.
Correct.
If we're dropping those a little bit, that helps us bring down, if we do drop the second to 8 and the first to 9, that would take 2 feet out, so we drop from 36
Should
to
be-
34.
Correct.
Now, the garage front, initially I had concerns with this, because if you look at the garages on the street, almost everything on the south side of the street, there are 2-car garages, there are single-car garages, particularly in this piece, that are behind. If you go further east, there are single-car garages on the south side. I will note that every single house on the north side has a driveway that goes back to a garage behind. There's only one that has a carport. Everybody else has a driveway that goes behind. I'm also going to branch out a little bit and reference our new design ordinance, which is not yet in effect, but it gives a nice benchmark, a nice
Right.
guideline. So in all cases, it's preferred to have rear or side access garages. The last project we saw had a side access garage, so we didn't even talk about it, actually. This one, Architectural Review Board, we're already here. Garage entrance flush with the plane or recessed back from the plane of the house. These in the photograph are what are known in the industry as snout houses, where the garage sticks out 20 feet and you have to go all the way back to even get to the front door. Not preferred. They have an impact on the environment of the neighborhood. There's even market studies that show they sit on the market longer and sell for less because the curb appeal is not as good as a house with a vibrant front porch. Total combined width of all garage doors shall not exceed 30% of the width of the front facade. I haven't done the math on that, but architectural garage doors compatible with overall design. So looking at those benchmarks, coming back here, on a 50-foot lot with a 20-foot garage door, I'm not sure you can get to 30%, but,
However, that's not in place yet.
correct. But I'm also not gonna fight that there. One of the things I would like to consider, I see where you're in the floor plan and you're about a foot back. You got 22 feet in the garage. Can we push this back literally like 6 inches? That would give you something to dye your stone trim into on the side.
Stone wraps all the way around the house, 3 foot, except for the front porch is floor to ceiling.
Correct. So on the front porch, above the 3 foot, you need something to end into.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
So I don't want to try to make it flush like the guidelines says.
Right, no,
If we go 6 inches, you'll have something good to close to. Sorry, I didn't.
you know, and I was actually concerned about the garage bumping out, looking at the future ARB meeting we looked at a couple months ago.
So I think it's only a foot. If we could make make that piece 6, I don't think it changes much in your garage or doesn't change any alignment with your upper floor. The upper floor seems a little set back.
Right. Paul, do you foresee any issues in?
We'll make it work.
All right, so the garage, although I will admit I'm personally not happy with it, because there's precedent for 1-car garages, it's only a 50-foot lot. And
I just don't have the room to go behind is the problem with the 125-foot depth lot and still have some grass.
other neighbors do, I'm not sure if your lot is less
Yeah,
deep.
this lot looks smaller than some of the other ones. I was surprised too, because I was looking at it, and it's like, there's very little lot left even as we are. So it currently slopes up in the back.
Location map, that was it. All right, so they look pretty consistent. Owner of 8526, I believe, is on the phone. So, here, existing garage behind, existing garage behind, existing garage behind, and a new build with a garage behind.
It looks like it has virtually no yard.
I do believe there is a hill back there. So.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, there's 2 retaining walls currently that are going to get rebuilt on this lot.
I think one of the tricky things which we've faced before as a board and as a community, right, is we have a large stock of pretty small houses, right? So this is not the first time we've sort of faced the reality of, market forces pushing against, a context, right? So in this particular case, I agree with everything Matt said and Paul as well, but in this case, like there's, I don't know, 90% of statistics are made up, right? So I can't make it, but there's a large proportion of little cottagey sort of houses, right? And then every once in a while there's one that, someone before the board existed added something onto it, and there's a couple on your corner that same house just pop up, right? I have photos of everything from today walking around, and then there's a couple of these, right, which are, the one to the far right of that image is a 2-story house, but it happens to be right at the edge of a hill, right? So the little 1-story next to it doesn't feel nearly as impacted because there's a hill right there, right? Then you got the other 2. Long story short, it is a neighborhood with some 2-story houses in it, right? It's a neighborhood with some garage front houses in it, so all of that's accurate. As you said, the design guidelines aren't in place yet, although, I think it's reasonable to refer to them as where we're trying to go,
Correct.
So the issue then for me is, there's a context, we're trying to work within it. We've approved lots of different houses over our time on the board, we'll continue to do so. I think for me, the trick is that the style of house that has been chosen, designed, however you came about it, and that's a matter of opinion and taste, and I'm not really talking about that, but as a professional designer, it's clearly designed to be tall. right? Like it's the design of that house, like it celebrates its tallness, right? 12 pitches, right? You know, and so I'm as a designer myself, or as an architect, even picking from someone else's designs, knowing that height was a challenge in this neighborhood, I probably would not have picked one that celebrates height, right? Because I think we're working against ourselves now. You know, like we're trying to fit into a context. We know that the market wants a 2-story house. You know, people want, you know, they want to, you know, whatever we call them envelope fillers, right? You know, like I have an envelope filler. We had a big meeting 3 or 4 years ago or longer. It was a huge fight on my block. You know, I voted yes. You know, it's not my house, whatever. But it's just like, what's the width? Boom. What's the depth? Boom. What's the height? Boom. You know, it's like fill the envelope, right? So maybe that's what people want, and that's not for me to judge, right? You know, so that's fine. I just wanted to make some efforts to fit in, right? You know,
So in choosing design, we looked at some 2,500 square foot houses that would require a basement office. With this day and age and everybody working from home, we wanted to try to push the office to the first or second floor. And that's where we ended up with in this design.
I mean, and you know, you're a builder, you know, you can separate plan dynamics from how it looks, right? You know, so it almost looks like a 3-story house, right? Like when you look at it from the back, like there's a big gable on the back that's just hollow. There's nothing in it, right? But it makes it like a 3-story house. So I'm not saying it isn't a nice looking design. It is, right? You know, and I think, you know, I just feel like it's, if I was picking from the catalog, I'd be like, oh, this one's tall, right? You know, and I'd put it in a tall neighborhood, right? And so I had some time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Because your time doesn't cost me.
So I had some time, and I made it short, right? You know, so it went from whatever it was to like 29 feet tall, right? And how did I do that?
It's not playing well on the graphics.
No, it's really the line weights were really funky on the when I was whatever I was doing. I apologize, but I yeah
36 feet tall.
Are you
Tell us
using
what
Photoshop?
yeah. So I took it. I did 2 things. I took the 2 feet out because I noticed the 10 and 9, so I thought you could probably live with 9 and 8. I wouldn't punish the first floor more than 9. Like you want some drama on your first floor. So you know, so I think, you know, if you're willing to go 9, it's appreciated. You know, so that's 2 feet out, and then I did 8 and 12 instead of 12 and 12.
Yeah,
Right.
Paul and I talked about dropping the pitch just because
Yeah.
it seemed high.
So between 8 and 12. Yeah, between 8 and 12, right? You know, it's a lot of trusses for you know. So 8 and 12, and it doesn't. I did 3 things. I did 8 and 12. I did the 2 feet out, and then I tried to clip the hips, right? Clip the gables. That's a different version I sent you later. So, yeah. So
that.
you're right, and I did it in 2 different ways. I did one that doesn't quite go down all the way down to the eave, and I did one that goes all the way down to the eave, right? And because the overall design is sort of wants to be tall, there's a point where what I'm doing makes it start to look stubby.
No, I did. So would you rather see the gables clipped or the decorative millwork on the gables?
It's a fair question. It is, and I honestly don't have an answer because when I did the extreme, there you go. When I did the extreme clipping, I thought it started looking a little
that
stumpy.
doesn't work.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Love
Yeah,
the comparison that's not showing well on the monitor.
I sorry. I was.
At home.
Yeah, but the original on the right is the full height, and then there's the version with the full gables at the 29-foot height, and then there's one with the slightly clipped gables, and then there's one with massively clipped gables. And
So I'm glad Carl had more time to work on.
Like I
this
said,
today
his
than
time
I
doesn't
did.
cost me anything.
Yeah. So. Why don't
I'm trying to lead by example. I want people to spend time on their designs, right?
So one reason that kind of led towards this design was the millwork.
That's why I was going to stay out of it until afterwards. But, so, hey, Tom, can you come up for a second?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get very far because I was working in the CAD file. Oh, and what did I do? Just wipe it out there? And I'm sorry because I don't have the Wi-Fi set up for this conference room.
Want to bring us the puck and the microphone? The click share, please.
The walkie-talkie thing.
We need full visual aids. We need everything.
And I also did not bring my mouse, so that makes it extra complicated.
Here, I can hold that.
How does this work?
So you put that in and you are going going,
But I don't have this support.
let me,
This is a newer computer.
Oh, you don't have it? Actually, I have
No. Nope.
Sorry.
Other doc is
Which
in my
became a
email.
problem today when I was looking at putting the new jobs on the USB. Luckily, my docking station has it.
So I would note that all the other, I'm sorry,
There you go. This is what I was looking at.
there are three second-story
That's his-
additions on the block, and two of them, all three were done before the ARB. So I appreciate spending time on this, because we understand that we're setting precedent. All right, so we can't do click share yet.
Yeah, but at least you can take a peek at it. Then we'll get it here in a second. I did not bring my briefcase either, so.
They kind of think that one's,
adapts it from a
So
USB.
this elevation, if we can get the USB-C adapter, it's only the side elevation so far, but it does take out the 2 feet and clips the side face. It does not show, it shows the front is still the 12/12 pitch.
but you're
this-
essentially, you're pretty close to the line that I just drew here.
Right, but see, the thing is the original plan has a 7.5/12 for the primary structure. So, I mean, I'm fine either way with, I think it can work with the
So in all,
12/12, but I'm happy to play with that some more too.
so in all candor, and Tom, you asked the question a little bit ago, and the question was, would you rather see the decorative trim in the gable, or would you rather see the roof fill in that area? And I would have to say, from driving down the block, and I'm gonna go back to Google, if we're driving down the block and you're seeing that, you know, the tall piece of the side of the house, right? As I come the other way, and because this house sits high on the hill, I actually think clipping a little bit of that gable would reflect less light, would make it break down that scale a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is what I was telling Tom. I feel that's a better solution to clip the cable. I mean, when you have them in this transitional area, and we have the same thing on my street, as we saw here a couple of months ago.
Yep.
And so, Carl, and it's Matt's turn is what it is.
It's first time on my street. You've all had your turn already.
We've had our turn. So that to me cuts the height down somewhat, returns some of the sunlight to the neighbors. I mean, if we had a different plan on the front, then I might clip it more, but I think it helps out some.
I'm good with the clip corner, with the clip gable.
Yeah, I mean, what you're showing in that drawing is actually pretty convincing. I do, so I would say,
find
since
an
since we're in full negotiation mode, I do think that if you're willing to leave the 12/12 and go to something less, so
Oh, definitely.
I wouldn't have,
There you go.
my own,
Matt's
you know,
using
my own
the
taste is not
old-fashioned
your taste,
photo
but I wouldn't have gone
print
less
screen.
than 8 and 12 because it starts to look stubby, right, you know? It looks shallow, right?
Even at 8, I think we can still keep the coffered ceilings on the second floor.
Yeah, so I mean, if you did the 2 feet out and you did the eight,
That's
if you
gonna
did
be
8 and
done
12 and you
anyways.
did the thing you showed there, then I think we've taken frankly, you know, I appreciate it. We've taken a lot of steps then toward making it feel like it's talking to its neighbors, right? You know, and we've done this gable clip thing on a couple of other locations where it was in a small house neighborhood, right? And it seems to have worked, right? You know, I feel like I drove by another one of them on the way here tonight just to remember it, and I remember thinking it worked positively. We did that also over on I can't think of the name of the street. Anyway, a couple of times. So but this is going to be a redraw and a resubmit. We probably can't do it here tonight. Is that accurate? I mean, that's up to you. You're the architect on it. It seems like it's enough change that it'd be hard to capture, but I'm going to leave that to you guys to decide. So, but we're agreed, right? Are we agreed on those changes?
I think we've got the strategy.
Okay.
I I would not be in favor of one heavily photoshopped front elevation being the exhibit that we're voting on. You may run into some other issue as you chase this around that needs adjustment.
And it is a chase around.
Exactly.
I did do all 4 elevations. I had time to do all 4.
Or are you going to submit them for us?
No,
Sure you don't want to?
no, I don't want to do that.
Okay, so that's a photo of Paul's study on his computer for the gable end of the roof. And it looks like, I mean, you had, if the plate height stick that Carl has done, we're taking 7 feet out of the height of this building, which
Yeah.
is,
Like 29, which is, should meet zoning.
Yeah, zoning is 35 either to the median or the top height. I mean, I know 35 is a hard number in there.
Sorry,
Yeah,
or 2.5
whichever's
stories,
less.
whichever was less. And it didn't, I don't think it said it was to the median.
Yeah, and I think that median is actually, he's not here, but that applies for garages. There's a 12-foot median height as seen from the right-of-way or the property line on the right-of-way presentation. So I think that's where that came from, because that's the last time I actually did that for a Brentwood property was for the garage and a 12-foot height.
this one, when it first came in at the original 36-foot height. I was walking the dog in Douglas Court. You would see this house from Douglas
Yeah, no,
Court.
I
All right,
Are we moving to table, or how do we do this?
I think we table until the revised markups come back.
You're moving to table, right?
I'll move to table.
And I'll second that.
You can't.
Yeah, okay.
I'll second.
So moved.
I recommend seconding.
All right.
Public comment, I'm sorry, we did not.
Oh, you're right, we tabled. Is there any other public
Untable.
comment? Including we have folks online. If you're online, I'll make everybody able to talk. I don't see any hands raised. Anyone in the audience? Going once, going twice. All right,
Move to table till next meeting.
second. And I don't think we actually have to vote on that one, so. All right. And back to our agenda for 2 much simpler applications, and thank you for your patience. 9100 Pine, please. Come up and tell us about your project.
Hi, interested in turning a screened-in breezeway into an area that is gonna be more conducive to being indoors, so she doesn't have to go outside to go back into her home. She has a hard surface on her floor and just as slick as could possibly be with the snow we've had this year, guys. Yeah. So from
Some
then,
lovely photographs with beach towels and snow, if I can find them.
yeah, exactly. I have them here as well, but, yeah.
Oh, no, they're in the, we're here. Nope.
Yeah, it was a snowy day that day as well. You should have seen her and her mother out there shoveling a spot for me.
Plans, that's. Yours, you're next. Got a lot of stuff open.
So while that's happening, though, the project is essentially, everything's existing in terms of overhead structure and
Everything is
ground plane is,
roof-
you're adding glass windows and doors.
2 11-foot walls. They have exposed electric running to the garage, and I told them I'd clean all that up and bring it up to current code, from that. And here again, looking at, you want me to bring the picture up, guys? Would that help you?
Is that it?
That's not it.
That's not it.
I thought I had the,
Please.
There we go. I finally got it.
Excellent, Johnson.
All right, so it's,
But here again,
so from the plans, existing
exist-
concrete, are you gonna do anything with the tile? Is that just staying or
I am not, tile staying, sir.
tile staying?
All I'm doing is pulling out the screen walls, putting in bronze aluminum back in, reglazing it with insulated glass and wiring it to current code.
So no changes to roof, no changes to foundation, just the sidewalls?
No, no.
I
Trying
don't
to
have
get
any
that white
questions.
stuff out of there.
Yeah, it's very straightforward.
I agree. Is there any public comment on the submission? No? Board Member Turner?
I'll move to approve as submitted.
I would second.
Taking the roll, Matt Foreman, yes. Carl Carlin?
Yes.
Paul Turner?
Yes.
Finish your drawings and turn them into John. All right, now we're up to yours. 32 Middlesex. I have your plans open here, let's see.
I'm the owner, so my architectural knowledge is limited. We'll probably not, and we're not adding any gables, so I think we'll be okay.
We're making it 36 feet tall, so. All right, so actually, I think this one explains pretty well here. You've done a nice job with side proposed and existing, which actually matches. That's the existing.
The deck we're just replacing the deck, and it's going to be the same size as the prior one. It'll be with modern material and composites material, so.
There was a minor modification to the window, was that it?
Yeah, if you look on, go back to that one. If you look to your right, there's a window. We replaced that window with the larger window, and the white that you see was bricked back in, so so it looks like, doesn't look like hell, how about that? But that was,
Always appreciated.
but that's the change. The door will be replaced too.
I didn't have any questions on this one either.
We have materials, are you painting? What are you gonna build out of the new deck out of?
It's my understanding we're gonna replace the deck that was there at the same dimensions. That should be on there.
He's asking material, composite.
Oh, it's all
Composite, that's what I was after, thank you. Do you know what color yet?
No, it's gonna be a neutral color though,
Like a
like a,
hint of red. Black railing.
That's
if you
exactly
would
what I
zoom
need.
out, if you would zoom out, you could see, the railings that we have around, on the drive, in the back, and they're gonna match that.
Matching
Exactly.
existing is even more straightforward.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience or online wish to make comments? Motion.
Move to approve as noted.
Second.
Calling the roll, Matt Foreman, yes. Paul Turner,
Yes.
Carl Carlin.
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, back to our agenda. Are there any public comments to do with anything not on the agenda this evening? You're the only one here that wasn't on the agenda, so.
Here to admire.
But do we still have online attendees? Still have one. Don't see any hands raised. Moving on to update from the Director of Building Official.
It looks like we do have, we'll have 2 cases for next month.
What,
These two?
Pardon me?
The two that are from Tom?
I've only got one.
so what's the date
I
of
got
our
the second one
next,
here.
what's the date of our next
Do
meeting?
you remember the date? It's like the 20th, I believe.
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong a day or give or take a day, but I think it's the 20th.
Coming up on the week of Brentwood school spring break. So might be worth taking a look at our,
I'm actually here this year.
I'm not sure I will be. I think we need to confirm the week we're having it, public notices, all that. Because I believe I'm traveling that week.
You'd be on that week.
I might be okay, but let's follow up like you said.
But if I'm not here, Paul can't vote, then
Matt needs to be here, so.
John would have to vote if I'm not here.
I approve.
Well,
Is this,
can we do a hot seat
We just,
after we're done?
we just did a hot seat. All right. That brings us to the end of our
The
agenda.
next meeting is March 20th.
That is during Brentwood week, I believe. I just checked, so we should compare and see.
Let's consider shifting that a week.
have to see if we can get the room, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
Can we move forward?
Okay. Well,
All right, move
do
to
a hot seat
adjourn.
afterwards.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for the online attendees.